Packard Automotive Plant, the cathedral of industry that refused to die. On Detroit's East Grand Boulevard, there stood a ghost so vast it could be seen from space. For over a century, the Packard plant dominated the skyline, a 3.5 million square foot monument to American ambition. It was here that the first reinforced concrete industrial building in America rose from the mud. It was here that 40,000 workers once streamed through the gates daily, building luxury cars for royalty and movie stars. And it was here that, decades later, a dump truck was pushed from a fourth-floor window, a tiger went missing during a photoshoot, and the world's most famous graffiti artist left a mural that read, "I remember when all this was trees." This is the story of the Packard plant, a tale of breathtaking innovation, decades of decay, and a $50 million bet that this symbol of ruin will finally, impossibly, rise again. The birth of an industrial revolution. The story begins in 1899, when brothers James Ward and William Dowd Packard began building automobiles in Warrenton, Ohio. Their cars caught the attention of Detroit investor Henry Joy, who convinced them to relocate to the future Motor City. For the site of their new factory, they chose land on East Grand Boulevard. And for the design, they turned to a young architect named Albert Kahn. What Kahn created between 1903 and 1911 would change industrial architecture forever. The Packard plant became the first major industrial complex in America built with reinforced concrete, a revolutionary technique that allowed for larger, stronger, and more fire-resistant buildings than the wood and brick construction that had come before. Kahn's design featured massive windows that flooded factory floors with natural light, creating working conditions remarkably advanced for their time. When complete, the complex sprawled across 40 acres, encompassing more than 3.5 million square feet of manufacturing and office space. It was, for a time, considered the most modern automobile manufacturing facility in the world. The Golden Age, ask the man who owns one. The Packard Motor Car Company built its reputation on luxury and engineering excellence. Their famous slogan, "Ask the man who owns one," captured the brand's exclusivity and the fierce loyalty of its customers. Through the 1910s and 1920s, Packard competed fiercely with Cadillac for dominance in the luxury market. In 1915, the company introduced the Twin Six, the first production V12 engine in America, leapfrogging the competition and cementing Packard's reputation for innovation. By 1916, production had reached nearly 11,000 vehicles annually. The 1923 introduction of the single 8 and inline 8-cylinder engine established a powertrain that would remain synonymous with Packard for 3 decades. Through the Roaring '20s, Packard outsold Cadillac, becoming the premier luxury automobile for those who could afford the best. Packards rolled off the line for heads of state and captains of industry. Egyptian Prime Minister Abdel Fattah Yahya Pasha took delivery of a magnificent 1934 Packard 1108 limousine. Movie stars like Clark Gable drove them. And when the world's wealthy wanted to make a statement, they bought a Packard. War and transformation. When World War I demanded American industrial might, Packard pivoted effortlessly to aircraft engines. Chief engineer Jesse Vincent helped design the legendary Liberty V12, and Packard produced thousands before the war's end. But it was World War II that truly transformed the plant. Packard contracted with Rolls-Royce in September 1940 to build the Merlin aircraft engine, a $130 million deal worth nearly $3 billion today. By the end of production in 1950, Packard had built more than 54,000 Merlins, powering the P-51 Mustang, the British Spitfire, and the Lancaster bomber. The plant also employed thousands of women who replaced men serving overseas. One of them, Martha Carlson Phelan, worked as a boat engine inspector. Her dedication earned her the Award of Individual Production Merit, personally delivered by First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt in 1943, a testament to the plant's critical role in the war effort. War and transformation. When World War I demanded American industrial might, Packard pivoted effortlessly to aircraft engines. Chief engineer Jesse Vincent helped design the legendary Liberty V12, and Packard produced thousands before the war's end. But it was World War II that truly transformed the plant. Packard contracted with Rolls-Royce in September 1940 to build the Merlin aircraft engine, a $130 million deal worth nearly $3 billion today. By the end of production in 1950, Packard had built more than 54,000 Merlins, powering the P-51 Mustang, the British Spitfire, and the Lancaster bomber. The plant also employed thousands of women who replaced men serving overseas. One of them, Martha Carlson Phelan, worked as a boat engine inspector. Her dedication earned her the Award of Individual Production Merit, personally delivered by First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt in 1943, a testament to the plant's critical role in the war effort. The long decline. After the war, Packard faced an uncertain future. The company had invested heavily in retooling for military production and struggled to regain its footing in the civilian market. The massive bathtub styling of late 1940s Packards failed to resonate with consumers who increasingly favored smaller, more modern designs. The 1949 models introduced the Ultramatic transmission, the first torque converter automatic in a production car. Sales that year were strong, over 104,000 vehicles, but the underlying problems remained. Packard was caught between its luxury heritage and the need to compete with Cadillac and Lincoln. In 1954, Packard merged with the Studebaker Corporation of South Bend, Indiana, forming the Studebaker-Packard Corporation. It was a merger of weakness, not strength. On June 25, 1956, the last Packard built in Detroit rolled off the line at East Grand Boulevard. Production shifted to a former Briggs plant on Conner Avenue, and finally to Studebaker's South Bend factory. In 1958, the last true Packard abadjung. The long sleep, from factory to ghost. For the next 4 decades, the Packard plant lived a strange half-life. Small businesses occupied portions of the complex, storage companies, light manufacturing, a chemical processing firm that remained until 2010. But building by building, the plant fell silent. And then, something unexpected happened. The ruins began to attract a new kind of attention. In 1994, legendary electronic music DJ Richie Hawtin threw an underground techno party in the abandoned factory, tapping into Detroit's vibrant rave scene. Urban explorers ventured into its depths, cameras in hand. Graffiti artists transformed its walls into canvases. Paintballers staged battles among the crumbling machinery. And scrappers slowly stripped the building of its wiring, its metals, its very skeleton. By the 2000s, the Packard plant had become the international symbol of Detroit's decline, the most famous ruin in a city famous for its ruins. The pranksters, the artists, and the tiger. The plant's notoriety attracted increasingly bizarre attention. In 2009, someone pushed a dump truck from a 4th-floor window. The pranksters hadn't put it there, it had been driven up a ramp, but they used a 3-ton hydraulic jackhammer to tip it over the edge, creating an image that circled the globe. In 2010, the mysterious world-famous graffiti artist Banksy left his mark on the Packard plant. The 8-foot-tall mural depicted a young boy next to a paint can, with the words, "I remember when all this was trees." A local gallery later excavated and sold the artwork for over $130,000, despite objections from the plant's owner. In 2015, a photographer brought a tiger, 2 wolves, and a bobcat to the plant for a photo shoot. The tiger briefly escaped its cage, causing chaos before being safely recovered. Hollywood discovered the Packard plant as well. Michael Bay filmed scenes for Transformers: Dark of the Moon there. Tilda Swinton and Tom Hiddleston found vampire love outside its walls in Only Lovers Left Alive. A terrifying scene in the cult horror film It Follows was shot in its empty halls. Anthony Bourdain visited 4 Parts Unknown. The Amazon series The Grand Tour filmed there as well. The False Dawns. The Packard plant's size, over 3.5 million square feet, made redevelopment seem impossibly daunting. Its condition, after decades of neglect and scavenging, was catastrophic. In 2013, the property was put up for tax foreclosure auction. A Texas physician named Dr. Jill Van Horn placed the winning bid at $6,038,000 with grand plans, but she missed the payment deadline. Then, in December 2013, a Peruvian developer named Fernando Palazuelo purchased the Packard plant for just $405,000. Palazuelo unveiled a $350 million master plan for a mixed-use development to be completed over 10 to 15 years. They held a groundbreaking ceremony in 2017 for Phase 1, focused on the 121,000-square-foot administration building. The administration building was predicted to open as early as 2019. But the grand vision never materialized. Environmental issues proved more complex than anticipated. Financing hurdles mounted. The scale of the project overwhelmed available resources. By 2021, the city of Detroit had lost patience. With $1.5 million in unpaid taxes and mounting code violations, the city seized control. The reckoning. In September 2022, the city of Detroit began what would become a 2-year demolition project. Using $26 million in American Rescue Plan Act funds, the city contracted with Detroit-based Adamo Group to methodically bring down the sprawling complex. The work was monumental. The Packard plant was not one building but dozens, connected across 40 acres. Each section had to be carefully assessed, then demolished, then hauled away. By December 2024, the majority of the complex was gone. Only 2 structures remained, the iconic administration building at 1580 East Grand Boulevard and another historic structure at 1539 East Grand Boulevard. These were spared for their architectural significance and their connection to Albert Kahn's legacy. The resurrection, Packard Park. With the site cleared, the city moved quickly to envision its future. On November 30, 2025, Mayor Mike Duggan made a stunning announcement. The city had signed a letter of intent with local developers Mark Bennett and Oren Goldenberg to transform 28 acres of the Packard plant site into something entirely new, Packard Park. The vision was extraordinary. A new 393,000 square foot Class A industrial building would rise on the site, designed to create 300 permanent manufacturing jobs. And the preserved Albert Kahn Administration Building, that iconic face of the Packard plant, would be renovated into a hub of community and culture. The plans for the Kahn building included 42 make/live affordable housing units where artists and makers could both live and work, Detroit's first indoor skate park, Modem, the Museum of Detroit Electronic Music celebrating the city that gave birth to techno, creative community programming areas, and more than 2 acres of indoor and outdoor public space and recreation areas. The total project cost was estimated at north of $50 million, with completion targeted for 2029. What remains, what rises? The Packard Automotive Plant produced approximately 1.6 million vehicles over its 53 years of operation. At its peak, it employed over 36,000 workers. It built cars for movie stars and prime ministers, engines for fighter planes and bombers. It survived 2 world wars, the Great Depression, and decades of abandonment. It became a canvas for artists, a playground for explorers, a backdrop for films, and a symbol of everything that had gone wrong in Detroit. And then, slowly, painfully, it began to become something else. Today, the Packard plant is no more. In its place, a cleared site awaits new construction. 2 historic buildings stand as witnesses to the past, soon to be filled with artists, skaters, music lovers, and residents. A railroad spur that once carried packets to market still runs through the property, ready to serve new industry. The Packard name survives in car clubs and collector garages, in the memories of those who worked there. And now, it will survive in Packard Park, a place where manufacturing jobs return, where affordable housing rises, and where Detroit's electronic music heritage finds a permanent home. The Packard plant was, for decades, a symbol of ruin. Packard Park aims to be a symbol of something else entirely, a city that refused to let its ghosts define its future. If this epic story of rise, fall, and improbable resurrection captivated you, please subscribe for more deep dives into the forgotten places and hidden histories that shaped America. Let us know in the comments what other lost landmarks you'd like us to explore.